All right, so you're interested in this whole talking to the universe thing, huh? Pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Are you maybe working on some big decision or just kind of curious about this cosmic connection?
Yeah.
Well, either way, we're going to dive into your source material with you.
Okay.
It's a YouTube video called 5 Ways to Talk to the Universe and Actually Get an Answer No Bees from the Library of Thoth channel. Now, you might think, just one YouTube video, how deep could that be?
Right.
Trust me, though, there's a lot to unpack here.
You're absolutely right. This video makes some pretty bold claims, basically saying that the universe is constantly like responding to our energy, like a mirror reflecting back everything we put out there. And it kind of blends these like spiritual ideas with scientific concepts, which is where things can get interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe a little slippery.
Right. Like how much of this is metaphor and how much of it are they saying we should take literally?
Right.
So our mission in this deep dive is to analyze the core claims they're making in this video. Break down the language that they're using and just see what resonates with you. And of course, we're going to be bringing our critical thinking caps along for the ride.
Always a good idea.
Right.
Especially when we're dealing with topics that could be easily misinterpreted or oversimplified.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. The video starts by saying we've been talking to the universe all our lives, whether we realize it or not.
Okay.
And that it's always answering back. It's not just passively listening. They're saying it's actively reflecting our thoughts, our feelings, everything. They even use the word echo chamber. What do you make of that?
It's a compelling image, isn't it?
Yeah.
This idea that we're like constantly sending out these signals and receiving feedback from the universe.
Yeah.
The video uses the term vibrational frequency a lot, suggesting that our thoughts and emotions have a measurable frequency, just like sound waves or light waves. Now, that's where we need to kind of pause and get a little more precise.
Okay.
While everything in the universe is made up of energy, applying the concept of frequency to our thoughts and emotions in this way might be a bit of a stretch.
So you're saying they might be using the scientific language metaphorically just to make the ideas more engaging.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see how that would be effective.
They even use this really catchy analogy. They say we're all like radio stations tuned to a specific frequency, and we attract experiences that match that frequency.
That is definitely an analogy that sticks with you. But the video goes beyond just wishful thinking, right?
Right.
Like it's not enough to just say affirmations or visualize what you want. They're saying the universe is responding to like a much deeper level, the vibration beneath the surface, the stuff that we truly feel even if we're not consciously aware of it.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point.
Yeah.
The video is emphasizing that it's not about these like surface level techniques, you know.
Right.
It's about the underlying energy that we're putting out. And this gets into some pretty fascinating territory about the power of the subconscious mind.
This is where things get really interesting for me. If we're broadcasting these subconscious vibes all the time, how much control do we actually have over the signals that we're sending out?
That's a great question.
Oh.
And the video offers a few pathways to becoming more conscious of our energy and aligning it with what we want to experience.
Okay.
They talk about prayer, meditation, and presence as tools for connecting with the universe.
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you ever experimented with any of those practices?
I've dabbled in meditation a little bit.
Yeah.
And I have to say, there have been times when it really felt like I tapped into like a source of clarity that I couldn't access with my like everyday thinking mind. Hard to describe, but it really felt like getting an answer from somewhere beyond myself.
Right.
But maybe that's just my brain playing tricks on me.
Well, maybe. But what's fascinating is that there's a growing body of research showing that meditation can have a real impact on our brain waves and neural pathways.
Okay.
It's not just about feeling good. You
Right.
know, there might be a real shift happening in our brains when we engage in these practices.
That makes sense. And they don't present prayer in the traditional sense of like begging a higher power for something.
Right.
They reframe it as a way to align yourself with the reality that you desire, to shift your internal state to be in harmony with your goal.
It's about becoming a vibrational match for what you want to attract, not just hoping or wishing for it. And this ties into their emphasis on present, which they say is the key to unlocking this whole process.
Okay.
Being present allows us to tune into those subtle signals that the universe is sending back to us.
Yeah.
You know, the synchronicities, the opportunities that we might otherwise miss.
This is where things get a little more woo-woo for me. Like, how do we know if we're really picking up on signs from the universe or just seeing patterns where none exist? Our brains are pretty good at connecting dots, even if they're totally random.
That's a healthy skepticism to have. Our brains are wired to find patterns.
Right.
So it's easy to fall into that trap of confirmation bias,
Right.
where we only see what we want to see.
Right. Right.
But what if we reframe it as being open to possibility, to unexpected guidance?
Okay.
Not in a rigid, this must happen way, but more of a let's see what unfolds kind of attitude.
That's an interesting distinction. It's not about forcing things to happen, but just being open to the flow of events and seeing where it leads us.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key concept from the video, visualization. They're not talking about daydreaming here.
Okay.
But a deliberate, energetic process that can actually shape reality.
You mean like athletes visualizing themselves winning a race, or entrepreneurs picturing their business thriving?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard about that, but I always wondered how much of that is just positive thinking versus an actual force shaping ends.
Well, the video makes a pretty bold claim about visualization.
Okay.
It suggests that our brains don't always distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one.
Ah.
And there's actually some scientific backing for this. Studies have shown that when we visualize something, the same neural pathways light up as if we were actually experiencing it.
Whoa, so you're saying we can actually rewire our brains through visualization?
It's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
But there's definitely evidence that mental imagery can have a powerful impact on our neural networks.
Interesting.
It's like practicing for performance, you know?
Yeah.
The more you rehearse it in your mind, the more prepared you are when it comes time to perform in real life.
That makes sense. But the video stresses that the key is not just to picture the outcome, but to feel the emotions that go along.
Right.
They say you have to feel the joy of success, the satisfaction of achieving your goal.
Yes.
Not just see it in your mind's eye.
They call it emotional congruence. And they even give this example that really drives this point home.
Okay.
You see, imagine you're affirming, I am worthy, but deep down you feel unworthy.
Right.
What happens then? They argue that your subconscious mind is going to pick up on that incongruence and follow the feeling, not the words.
That's a powerful point. It's not about fooling ourselves with positive affirmations.
Oh,
it's about aligning our beliefs and emotions with the reality that we want to create. But how do we actually do that? How do we change those deep-seated beliefs that might be holding us back?
Well, the video suggests another powerful tool, writing to the universe.
Okay.
They say this is a way to kind of solidify your intentions to make them tangible and real.
Like writing down your goals or journaling about what you want to manifest.
Exactly. They frame it as a way to send a clear signal to the universe. To say, hey, this is what I'm ready for. And there's something about putting pen to paper, about making those desires concrete that can shift our energy and create a sense of momentum.
I can see how that would be empowering. But it's not just about passively wishing and hoping, right?
Right.
The video also emphasizes taking action. They say you have to align your actions with your intentions to remove any contradictions that might be blocking what you're asking for.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
The universe might be responding to our energy, but it's not going to do all the work for us.
Right.
We have to create the conditions for what we want to manifest.
It's like setting the stage and then showing up ready to perform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that performance might require us to face some inner challenge,
Yeah.
to clear out those limiting beliefs that are holding us back.
So it's not always going to be easy, but the rewards could be worth it, right?
Right.
If we can truly align our energy, our beliefs, and our actions with what we want to experience, who knows what's possible?
Now, that's a question worth exploring, and we'll continue to do just that in part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay, great.
It's like the universe is saying, all right, you set the intention now. Let's see if you're ready to walk the walk.
That's great.
And speaking of walking, the video talks about the importance of recognizing signs and letting go of control.
Okay.
They suggest that the universe might not respond in these like grand, obvious gestures,
Right.
but in more subtle ways.
Yeah.
Synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, those kinds of things.
Yeah, they talk about how the universe might be whispering to us, not shouting.
Right.
But how do we know if we're really picking up on these cosmic whispers or just finding meaning where there is none? Our brains are pretty good at connecting dots, even if they're totally random.
It's a valid concern. We have to be mindful of confirmation bias.
Right.
That tendency to seek out information that just confirms our existing beliefs. It's easy to see a sign everywhere if you're looking for it.
Right.
Even if it's just a coincidence.
So how can we tell the difference between a genuine sign from the universe and just our brains making connections where there aren't any? It feels like a tricky balance,
It is a delicate dance. It's about cultivating discernment, paying attention to your intuition without getting too attached to specific outcomes.
Right.
The video even uses the phrase letting go of control, which I think is key here.
Okay.
It's not about dictating exactly how things should unfold,
Right.
but more about trusting that the universe might have a plan that's even better than what we could have imagined.
That reminds me of the saying, let go and let God. But in this case, it's let go and let the universe.
Exactly.
It's about surrendering to the flow of events, even if it takes us in a different direction than we initially planned.
Absolutely. It's about that trust that there's a bigger picture unfolding, even if we can't always see it.
You know, it's funny. I've had experiences where I felt so sure of what I wanted, but then the universe just seemed to close doors in my face at the time. It was so frustrating.
Wow.
But looking back, I can see how those closed doors actually led me to something even better. It's like those times were actually course corrections, guiding me toward my true path, even if I couldn't see it at the time.
And that speaks to the ultimate message of this video, which is it's not about getting what we want, but becoming the version of ourselves who naturally attracts those things. It's not about manipulating the universe. It's about aligning ourselves with the energy of what we desire.
It's like saying, okay, universe, I'm doing the inner work. I'm becoming the kind of person who is ready for the things I'm calling in.
Exactly. And that internal transformation is where the real magic happens.
Yeah.
It's not just about external circumstances. It's about shifting our beliefs, our habits, our entire way of.
Right.
And that's a process that requires a lot of self-awareness and honesty.
It makes me think of the idea that we're all works in progress. And maybe talking to the universe is less about making demands and more about inviting collaboration, about becoming a co-creator of our.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's a partnership, not a dictatorship.
So we've talked about vibrational frequency, aligning our energy using tools like prayer meditation and visualization, being open to signs, taking action, letting go of control. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me is the shift from external manifestation to internal transformation. It's not about forcing the universe to give us what we want.
Right.
It's about becoming the kind of person who is ready to receive it.
I completely agree. It's about recognizing that we're not just these passive recipients of whatever the universe throws our way.
Right.
We have agency. We have the power to choose our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And that's where the real responsibility lies.
So what does all this mean for you, dear listener? If the universe really is responding to our energy and intention, how does that change the way you approach your goals and dreams? Does it feel empowering or maybe a little overwhelming?
That's a question worth pondering. If we are indeed co-creators of our reality, what kind of world do we want to create? Not just for ourselves, but for everyone. What energy do we want to put out to the universe?
Because it's not just about manifesting our personal desires. It's about contributing to a collective reality that is harmonious and beneficial for all.
Right.
So as you continue exploring these concepts, remember that you have the power to choose your thought, your beliefs, and your actions. And with that power comes a tremendous responsibility.
And maybe, just maybe, by aligning ourselves with the highest good, we can create a reality that is more beautiful, compassionate, and fulfilling for everyone.
It's a beautiful thought, and one that reminds us that we're all interconnected.
And that our individual choices ripple out and impact the world around us.
Precisely. So as you continue on your journey of talking to the universe, remember that it's not just about receiving, it's about giving.
It's about becoming a conscious participant in the grand symphony of existence.
And maybe, just maybe, that's the ultimate answer we've been seeking all along.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that beautiful mind of yours wide open, because you never know what wonders the universe has in store for you.
And who knows, you might even surprise yourself with what you're capable of creating.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into talking to the universe. It's been a wild ride.
Until next time, keep those vibes high and those intentions clear. It really is a beautiful vision, like a world where we're all kind of consciously co-creating a reality that's, beneficial for everyone. But that brings up another question for me.
Okay.
This video focuses a lot on personal manifestation,
Right.
attracting abundance, achieving goals, that kind of stuff. But if we're all energetically connected, like the video suggests, where do our individual desires fit into the bigger picture? Do we run the risk of creating conflict if everybody's just out there trying to manifest their own personal desires?
That's a great question, and it kind of takes us into the realm of ethics and collective responsibility.
Okay.
The video doesn't really address this head on, but it's definitely something to think about as you're exploring these concepts.
Right.
If we're all part of this interconnected web of energy, our intentions have these ripple effects. They go way beyond ourselves.
Right.
So it's not just about what we want to attract into our own lives. It's about considering how our desires impact the world around us.
It makes me think of the idea that the universe is like a giant system.
Yeah.
We're all interdependent and our actions affect one another.
Wow.
So maybe talking to the universe isn't just about sending out our wish list, but also about asking what is the highest good for everyone involved?
Exactly. Right? It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
between individual aspirations and collective well-being.
Right.
And that might require us to be willing to let go of some of our desires if they're not really in alignment with the greater good.
It's almost like the universe is this collaborative project and we're all contributing our own unique talents and energies. But we also have to be mindful of the overall harmony of the creation.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that true fulfillment might not come from just getting what we want.
Okay.
It might come from playing our part in something much bigger than ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with this sense of like awe and possibility.
Yeah.
Like the idea that we can communicate with the universe and co-create our reality is so empowering and humbling at the same time.
It is. And it kind of invites us to approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness and responsibility.
Right.
You know, we're not just these passive observers, we're active participants in this huge cosmic dance.
So, dear listener, what resonates with you from this whole exploration? What practices or ideas feel aligned with your own journey?
Remember, there's no one right way to talk to the universe. It's about finding what works for you, what helps you connect with your inner wisdom and align with the flow of life.
Keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep that beautiful mind of yours wide open. Who knows what wonders you might discover within yourself and in the world around you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, may your intentions be clear, your energy aligned, and your heart open to the infinite possibilities of the universe.